Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seed to Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So tonight we're going to do the Taroscopes for the sign of Gemini. It is time for Taroscopes again. I'm telling you, the time just flies by, doesn't it? Um, and so we have a couple of astrological things worth talking about. It's a very active astrological month, actually. A lot of things come to a head. A lot of things, we get a lot of understanding through this period. We still get a lot of shocks and real transformational change that will actually take us into the first half of next year. But for you, Gemini, Neptune, the planet associated with our spirituality, our connection to source energy, it's very mystical, magical. But with mystical and magical, we can also get illusional and delusional. So Pisces, can be the most beautiful thing and the most terrible thing. Pisces rules petrochemicals and the oceans and plastic, and we certainly are being inundated with plastic, right? Our own, like, all this crazy single-use plastic, and the fact that everything is wrapped in plastic, and we don't really have a good way to recycle plastic, so it's really not a great idea. But Neptune rules that. But it also rules this, like, utopian, love everyone, oneness stuff as well. So it is a complex, it's a complex energy, and one, when you think you figured it out, it does something else to elude figuring out. So there's an elusive energy to that Neptune changing, well, to Neptune and Pisces especially, because it rules Pisces, but also the fact that it's turning direct. And so we may see some sort of water sort of thing moving forward. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that would be. But for you, Gemini, this is in your 10th house of career and public standing. And so, depending on what you've done, as far as, have you been integritous, or have you been a liar? Are you fooling yourself, or was what you did truly in the spirit of compassion? So whatever it is, right, that you do or have done, now with Neptune moving forward, things are going to come out. Things are going to come out, and it's going to be in a very public way. So that's happening. We also have new moon, solar eclipse on the 4th. That's in Sag. So for you guys, that's in your house of relationship. Now, generally, you'd say, oh, this is a good time to start a new relationship. And we may find ourselves starting new relationships. Remember, the 7th house is not just our marriage partners and our business partners, but it is also our open enemies. So we could make a few enemies as well. And they will be vocal about it. Perhaps they weren't vocal before. They come out of the woodwork, perhaps. And so, but the thing about that is that it is connected to the nodes. It's connected to the south node, and so it's more than just a new moon about beginnings. It's a new moon about the beginning of the end of something. And so, like I said, if you've been integritous, you're a Gemini and you've been integritous and compassionate and all of those things, you don't really have anything to worry about. You actually get the benefits of the energy you put out there, especially if you didn't expect anything back. If you're just being kind because it's the energy you're vibing to, then, you will be rewarded to a certain extent. But this new moon on the south node, is really about, it's as if there's a situation where the plug finally gets pulled. and things go down the drain, and things resolve, and things go bye-bye. Um, and so, whatever that is, if it's the lie that you've been carrying around, then you're going to be found out. If it's um, something you've been holding on to that is preventing you from really being your best self, in the eyes of the world, or your best self as far as a leader, right? Um, this is this full moon, new moon, south node eclipse is going to um, sort of like give it a boost, right? Give the final release. It's the difference between ushering somebody out the door or kicking somebody out the door, right? This is more of a kick. That that Sagittarius energy, is I got to be free. And Geminis have Sagittarius on their seventh house cusp, so they're of two minds, which of course is very Gemini. You're the mind of, actually wanting a commitment, and then on the other side, wanting to be free. So it's a challenging energy to have. And the nodes have been the North Node's been in the sign, in your, in Gemini. So it's affecting you in a very, in some cases, public way. And if you happen to have the Gemini moon, in a very personal way. Um, and then, of course, you have the Gemini Sun or the Gemini Ascendant. You're feeling all of those things as well, but it's less, when you're dealing with the moon, it's more emotional, right? The Sun and the Ascendant is less of that energy. So that's happening. We have a full moon in Gemini. In Gemini, 27, I think, 28 degrees of Gemini, and the Sun in conjunct the galactic center, which is in Sagittarius. Um, so, so that's an awareness, and the nodes are about to move out of um, Gemini Sagittarius. So this is sort of like a final salvo for that experience. At the end of this month, we also have a sextile between Mercury and Jupiter, which is part of something that happened, I think, 3 times. This will be the last time. But it's also at the end of this nodal picture of Gemini and Sagittarius. So there's a lot of wisdom coming through experience, a lot of things we're going to learn. People have been working really hard and diligently, and you could be one of those people, to uncover something, and now it comes out. It comes out. And, Gemini, if it's about nothing else, it's about communicating. And actually, Gemini rules journalism. So while the North Node's been in Gemini, we've had a lot of very good investigative journalism, because the people who were in power would just flat out lie. And so you had to investigate. You had to look underneath, because that was the only way you were going to get information. So we saw that too with the nodal placement. We have Venus going retrograde. Now this is going to be happening, let's see, Gemini, Sag. This is going to be happening in your 8th house. That's other people's money, or that's the money you share with other people. It's also debt and the like. And so you might have an issue with debts coming due in a big way. And it's going to take a while to resolve it, because it doesn't, Venus is retrograde for 40 days, and it doesn't, doesn't get Venus is retrograde for 40 days plus. After, right before Venus goes retrograde on the 11th, Pluto is making a conjunction to Venus. And that's going to happen 3 times. And that's all going to happen in that 8th house for you. So you have to be careful about taking on too much debt. You have to be careful of becoming indebted in other ways to people, because it is the eighth house. There can be a sexual component to that, or a manipulative component to that, because a little bit of the nature of the eighth house. So you really have to tread very, very carefully probably the first 6 months in December, and then the first 6 months of um, 2022. What else is happening? Venus goes retrograde. I said that. The sun goes into Capricorn. Again, that's an eighth house for you, Gemini. And so, this is making sure that you've paid your taxes, making sure that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, make sure that the things that you might be responsible for financially, because it wasn't understood in some way, can come to bite you. So you want to make sure you're just really diligent about that stuff, through this whole period. But it really sort of moves, you really feel it like right before Christmas. And on Christmas, we're having the last of three last quarter crisis in consciousness squares between Saturn, the planet of structure, and Uranus, the planet of blowing up things. So it's very explosive. It could be literally explosive. And we have had our sort of explosions, right? I mean, we just had another school shooting. I mean, that's a gun is an explosion in your hand, right? That you can direct at somebody. So this is a time when that kind of stuff is, you need to be aware. You really do. You need to be aware of your environment, and we have to be extra cautious. You and all of us, but especially you, Gemini. What else? Well, there's one other thing. Jupiter moves back into Pisces. So Jupiter's moving into that 10th house. Now that I like, because Jupiter brings an expansion, and people may finally get to see the spiritual side of you in a way that, like, they're surprised that because you've been so quiet about it, because you've been busy learning or whatever it is, right? You had to prepare yourself. You just don't come onto the scene with something like this. You have to work at it. You have to, understand some stuff. So, all right. So that's the astrology. We're going to be doing a tarot reading now. I'm going to use the Crow Tarot for our fine feathered. I mean, it's air, right? Why not a fine feathered friend tarot deck? Okay, let me just move this over here. Have a little. This is my Christmas decorations. I wanted something much grander, but I'm telling you, December just jumped up, and here it is, December. Yeah, it feels like September. Like, where did the time go? I don't know. It's so bizarre. All right, hold on 1 second. These cards are like totally like messed up here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, they were actually in the opposite, not upside down, but like the opposite direction. I don't know how that happened. Okay, Gemini, Gemini Sun, oops, Gemini Rising, Gemini Moon. I dated a Gemini for like 7 years. That's about right, 7, right? It's like a natural cycle. Nice guy, really liked him. We were like brother and sister. And, sometimes we would fight like brother and sister. But not when we were dating. We didn't fight when we were dating. When we stopped dating and just stayed friends, that's when we fought, like brother and sister. All right, let's see what's going on. Okay, so we start with the the Eight of Pentacles. I'm sorry. This card really speaks of diligent effort. And diligent effort, and then also that which has a physical manifestation. It's not just, being nice to people, a diligent effort of being nice to people. It's diligent effort to actually create and manifest something. So you've been busy, you've had your head down, you've been either studying or producing or writing or so and there's a certain amount of skill that comes with it, right? In its way, this is actually a Gemini card in that in the Tree of Life, it is associated with Hod, which is associated with um, the planet Mercury. So there's a mercurial quality to this detail stuff, right? What's crossing it? Creativity. So the Ace of Wands. So it looks like you're doing something that you're very good at, and you've done it for a long, long time. And the challenge is there's new creative energy coming in, and it wants you to create something new. It wants you to, you know, this is a card of manifestation um, through diligent work. This can be a card of manifestation, but you need to be inspired. So it's very possible that you're not feeling inspired and that's what you want. Or it's possible that an opportunity comes in and it forces you to um, kind of step away from a sure thing. Let's see what's at the root. We have the Six of Cups. This is the past. Um, there is a sort of living in the past quality about where you're at, and it's very possible that that meticulous detail, head down, kind of energy, not really stopping to look at the bigger picture, right? Um, is something that you learned as a child. It may have been something that you had to do to deal with maybe some difficult emotional issues within the family, um, or something like that, or just, deep, or even to a certain extent, it could be that sort of past life memory stuff that's connected through family lines. In the past, we have the Page of Cups, so there's been a message. It is a message of Page of Cups. It's a message of hope. It's a message of love. It's a message of, if you're thirsty and somebody offers you a cup of water, it feels good. You're like, oh, you're refreshed. So there's been some sort of refreshment or something that's happened in the past. In the sky, we have the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups. So there's a lot of um, a lot of sorrow and a lot of grief that needs to be expressed. Um, I think that a lot of people have been dealing with a lot of loss of jobs or people in their lives or relationships or opportunities. There's been a lot of loss around this whole COVID thing. And, we can spend all our time mourning our losses, or we can just, look around and see what's left, take it and move on, right? Move on with what you have instead of, spending too much time mourning over what you've lost. Immediate future, we have the Ten of Cups. Um, one of the other one of the other readings I did on one of the other signs, I can't remember which one it was. Oh, did I say it? Oh, this is the Queen of Cups. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Wow, that was weird. I Oh, I see. Because I did this. I had it like this. EN. So I thought it was 10, but it's Queen. Like, how did I miss that? So there is there is a need to grieve. There is a need to um yeah, there is a need to grieve. And as you do that, there will be people that will help you through it. The Queen of Cups. She's the person that you go to when you're, feeling kind of blue or upset about something or not sure about something. And she sits you down in her kitchen that smells like oatmeal cookies, and she pours you a hot cup of tea and gives you a cookie and sits and, looks in your eyes and says, "What's the matter? What's going on? Are you all right?" That's the Queen of Cups, and that's what's available to you. So if you have to express these feelings, then you must express them, and it would be unhealthy not to, actually, quite frankly. How it's seen from the outside, an ending, an ending. So people will see this as, I think, a normal, like, cycle. Like, what are the 5 stages of grief, right? Anger, bargaining, all that stuff. Um, we all have to go through that because because we're grieving. And in this card, in this reading, it's saying that this is especially true for the Gemini. Um, your domestic situation, the Ten of Pentacles. Well, that's lovely because there's a little bit of a leap of faith, right? To move away from, that sort of mundane, rote kind of thing that you've done to maybe deal with some of the more difficult issues that you've had to deal with of late. Um, and it's pretty much saying, look up from that and do the emotional work that you need to do. And you say, well, I'm concerned about my family, or I'm concerned about my money situation. But you have the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles in the domestic situation, so you don't really have to worry about that. Hopes and fears, the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I think we all want change, but we're also afraid of it, right? Because we've had so much of it. And we have the Sun as the outcome card. Well, isn't that lovely? Yeah, this is a beautiful card. This is powerful. This is really about going in a new direction. It's a 1, just like the Ace of Wands is a 1. It's a 19-1, which is like a destiny number in numerology. It's like something you've agreed to do. So this experience is an experience that you agreed to do. That's what the 19 is in numerology. So it could be applied here, I think. Let's see what's underneath. The 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands. Judgment. It's an awakening. And the 3 of Pentacles. Oh. Well, now that's very interesting. Because first of all, the 7 of Wands is, kind of having the moral high ground, but it's taken some time to get there. It hasn't been, sometimes you didn't, but you still can. You still can, and you will be judged. You will be judged based on, the choices that you make. But then we have the 3 of Pentacles. And I feel like if you make the good choices, then you get to do the really good job. There's a difference between being good at something and you do it because of that, and a whole nother like level of doing it because you absolutely love it. And I think that's the 3 of Pentacles. I think the 3 of Pentacles has that energy. And there's a real strength in that 3 of Pentacle energy because it is in Baina, which is the divine feminine. And, it's from the womb of the mother comes all things. Gemini. It could be amazing. Amazing. Okay. I'm going to pull an oracle card, and for the air signs, I'm using my Celtic Tree Oracle. And I've had this for years. And I have, comes with a book, which I'm going to read because I've had them for years, but I probably haven't worked with them in at least 10 or 15 years. Um, but I've been doing it for the air signs. So let's pick one. Message for Gemini, Gemini rising, Gemini sun, Gemini moon. Okay. Nun, ash. Oops. Ash. I was at my friend's house for Thanksgiving. We did a Friendsgiving. And they have a lot of ash in their yard. Very, very tall trees. Um, so I'm connecting with the ash energy already because I was just there last week, surrounded by ashes. There's also an ash borer that is decimating ash trees in the Northeast. So that's interesting because the ash has a symbology, right? Okay. Inner and outer worlds linked, macrocosm and microcosm, and it's associated with March. The interesting thing about March is when we have the last of 3 Venus Pluto conjunctions, March 3rd. So there must be something connected to the Venus and Pluto stuff that I talked about in your astrology. Okay, let's see what page this is. 32. So I'm going to read this to you, and I'll hold the card up because it's such a pretty card. Hopefully I can see. Okay. Oops. Well, let's put it in the right place. Okay. It says the ash of the Ogham alphabet is the cosmic ash, or the world tree. It also appears in Norse mythology as the Yggdrasil, or the tree of Odin, or Woden, who hung from it in order to gain enlightenment in the secrets of the runes, and whose Celtic equivalent is Gwydin. The ash tree has deeply penetrating roots and sours the soil, making it difficult for other vegetation to grow beneath it. Its twigs are thick and strong. In Norse mythology, the tree spans the universe, its roots in hell, its branches supporting the heavens, and with the earth at its center. In the Celtic cosmology, in particular, it connects with the 3 circles of existence. And I'm not going to say them because I can't pronounce them. Well, I'll try. Abrid, this is not how you say them. Gwynedd and Sugant. I know that's absolutely not how you say it because this language doesn't sound anything, doesn't look like anything it sounds like. I know that. Which can be variously interpreted as the past, present, and future, or as confusion, balance, and creative force. There being no hell, but only continual rebirth as passage, is made from circle to circle until the land of the blessed is finally reached. And it's interesting. I like this idea of you're either in confusion, balance, or creative force. And so that's a question you need to ask yourself. Yeah, so you have to get your wits about you in this new energetic world that we live in. It's a different energy. We have become consciously aware of new levels of possibility. So very interesting ash tree, huh? But yeah, so you could be any one of those 3. You could be in that creative place. You can be in that confused place. You could be in that balanced place. But you can decide. You can decide for yourself. All right. That was great. I loved that reading. It was a great reading. Makes me wish I was a Gemini. All right, guys. Have yourself a great December. Um, I will be, if you're interested in having a reading with me, astrology, Kabbalah, that's the one I like to do the most, the 90-minute one, because you really can get into it with that reading. But I will be raising my prices at the beginning of the year. Um, I I have a house and a yard now with a giant tree that I have to find a way to cut around or cut down or have somebody else do it. So um, so that's why I'm raising my prices, quite frankly. But they're not a lot, and my prices are pretty reasonable, I think, anyway. Um, so if you want to do the 2021 prices before 2022 rolls around, and I raise my prices, um, you could do it now, and then you could do it now, and then you could always come back. Have it later in the year, next year. You know, say you're too busy to have it in December, and I only have so many availabilities anyway. So, all right, guys, sorry, I was meandering a little bit on that one. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Please stay safe. Um, Stay in love. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes, your heart, and your ears open, and your third eye, and your crown, so spirit can help when you need it. All right, guys. Much love. Namaste.